Hello and welcome to Love and Lunch, your 20-minute weekly Facebook Live, 1 p.m. UK time on Tuesdays. I'm Joanna Keeble, founder and coach at bigbeautifulboundaries.com. And yeah, you can head over to my Facebook group for decent conversations and interaction and content on happy, healthy relationships, on using your voice, on building and expressing your big, beautiful boundaries in a way that feels good to you and to other people too. And I have an online course for the same purpose, and I'm working on a workshop right now. So if you're interested in that, you might want to head over to bigbeautifulboundaries.com, sign up for notifications, and I will sort out a very rare email because I'm not into the old emails. Over to you, Jo.
Brilliant, thank you. Yeah, I'm Jo Cooper, sex and relationship coach. I support women to really come into their bodies, know what their truth is, so they can feel empowered to know what they want, and have types of relationships that are fulfilling for them.
Nice. I feel uncomfortable that whenever you finish saying that, I have to give a good, gorgeous, like a judgment word. I'm like beautiful, gorgeous, like, yeah, just had to say it. So speaking of which, yeah, I'm quite a thinky person. And that's sort of definitely relevant today as we talk about perfectionism, which we both have. And even as I think about it, like the music started, we started the show and I was like feeling into it, and I've just written the word perfection. That's
yeah,
like,
can I speak about it? Something just came to me. I think even when you said perfectionism, I actually felt my shoulders and my neck felt tight.
Right? That's exactly
And I was just like, oh, that word, even words they evoke certain sensations and feelings. And I was just
exactly like, I looked at the word, I mean, for me, it's like in my belly and everything just got tighter.
Yeah. And it's almost like this belief around perfectionism, like if I don't do this in a certain way, I'm going to fail or I'm not going to succeed. And it's just like that piece, that belief, it's like it's
catastrophic, isn't it? It's like it's all or nothing. It's like this or bust. It reminds me of like one of the pieces I've been working on is with my voice, because I'm a singer, and for years I didn't show up online with my singing because I was terrified of that like one mistake and people will write me off forever. And I realized I had that in my romantic relationships as well. If there's a guy that I'm into and he sees me not be perfect for one moment, he will be disgusted and then forever turn his attention away.
So right. Oh my God, I know that feeling.
Somewhere else we get our self-worth, right? Sometimes. Yeah, it's really, I'm uncomfortable even talking about this. I can feel tightness in my throat, tightness in my belly. Yeah, because it just means too much. It matters too much. One of my dad's favorite phrases.
Yeah, and I think for me it really comes from like even at school when either teachers or my parents used to be like, you must do a good job. You must do a good job. And it's like that sentence to learn. So if I don't, then what's going to happen? Because there's so much emphasis that if you don't get it right, perfect, there's nothing's going to happen.
Yeah. Right. And some other things that our parents tell us is that's sharp. There's like, don't run into the road, things that will end us, you know. And I think there's also a thing with childhood where the people that care for you, like, first of all, they keep us safe. So if they're telling you something's important, it's like there is a danger element to ignoring that. And secondly, They give us the love that we need. And I feel like there's a threat there of like, I'll be disappointed in you, or I will judge you as, you know, bad, or yeah, in some way not good enough, letting me down. What is that? So there's a thing with this has come up actually recently in a conversation with parents, which is edgy for me because I'm not a parent, but I was a child for ages and I got the full brunt of it. So I speak from that place. And what I've noticed is how attached we are to praise and how terrified we are of the punishment, and how it's impossible not to see how that matches up with, you know, your parents saying good and I'm not pleased. And yeah, even though it comes from a good place, obviously you're joyful when your child is growing up and developing and learning and flourishing. But if we accidentally think that we're praised, or if our parents intentionally praise us for achievements, don't be surprised when you grow up and you're all about your achievements. And there's not a lot of room for you to feel safe and loved or lovable, even to yourself, if you're not like winning everything.
Exactly. And that's why it really kind of goes on to like, that's why in a way, like so many of us, and I'm going to speak because I know it's not just about me, because I hear it from other people, it's like that's when we can become so fixated on the goal or achieving that particular thing.
Totally.
And then we're just missing out on so much. Like actually for me, the goal is in the journey. The end thing is just a byproduct of it.
But it's like, you know, when you think about your self-worth being at the end of like the achievement, and so it's like I'm withholding my value from myself, I'm withholding love from myself until I achieve. Why? Because, you know, wittingly or unwittingly, our parents did that and our teachers did that. They withheld the praise, or they were like, come on, or do the thing, and then you do it and then you get the well done, thank you, that's good, I'm happy. So what happens? What's your life experience? Question to everyone. I know my answer for me. What happens when you decide that you're not inherently worthy, that you have to get your self-worth from doing things? And that means you don't get to just treat yourself like you're worthy until you achieve a certain outcome. So you get to sort of trudge through this dry, gritty desert of not having the nourishment of love. Yeah, and for me, that's what makes it so fucking difficult to do everything, is if I'm withholding love from myself because I don't actually believe that I'm worthy yet, I have to prove it to myself. And then you know what happens? I prove to myself that I don't get to make fantastic progress and achieve things without love. But it feels like I've proved that I'm worthless. Does this make sense? All right. Woo. Yeah. Yeah, so where do you withhold love? Tell yourself it's not good enough. Good enough for who? Good enough for what?
Yeah, I withhold love when I'm in conflict with myself. Like this kind of like push and pull, like trying to achieve something or do something. Yeah, where there's a lot of effort. That's so right. And I feel like whenever I'm in that kind of push or force or you must do or you should, like actually I lose my connection to love. It somehow feels tainted. It somehow doesn't feel in its kind of like pure form, which love is. It's just like a natural unraveling.
This came up this is reminding me of a client session I had last night. So I'm holding my belly while we talk. That's what I need. I'm holding my little one. When I was talking to this client about realizing that I have to go at the speed of my slowest part to get all parts of me on board. And when I get that part of me on board, it's funny how everything can turn into a yes. It's kind of like in sex. If you're pushed, if you feel rushed, suddenly all the doors close and everything is a no. But actually, if you're given the time and you feel like you have options and you can say no, you can say yes to a lot more things. I have the same dynamic with myself with doing anything that I want to do, all of my desires. And because there's trauma around having things that I want, I've said this before, traditionally, when I want something, I go to fear and I start to shut it down and say why I can't have it and why I'm bad. And it's sort of like my inner critic comes down to make sure that I don't even try, because it perceives that as being the painful option, like risking failure. And so I actually get to feel abandonment from myself because I won't risk it. And yeah, what I was saying to my lovely client last night was when I slow down and I have that same conversation with all parts of myself, and I let myself go slow enough for the slowest part, then I don't have to feel violated by me. And if I'm not willing to listen to that part of me, and if I'm just gonna, this is why I'm so against push through. If I'm just gonna push through and abandon that smallest, most vulnerable piece of me, I know I do that. I'm very good at that. I know how to do that. I can get things done, and I'm going to feel violated. I'm going to feel insecure, and I don't get to feel safe with myself. It is a false economy. You can have a productive life. You can have the good job. You can get all the praise from everyone else. Nothing makes up from that loss of integrity, of knowing that I'm constantly violating myself to get that approval and achievement. This is like so on the money for me right now. Just holding and making sure that she's all right. Little me. Yeah, I've been having so much fun with perfectionism and imperfectionism. I'm playing with my imperfectionist and giving her some space to play.
Yeah, I love that. Space to play. I mean, what could open up for you, for the viewers, when you notice like perfectionism is starting to come in and you're like, okay, how can I just play with this? Like, instead of like getting tight and contracted and feeling the resistance, it's like, how can I just stay open and check in with myself?
Yeah, totally.
In this place and just play with it. Like, what would actually happen if I just didn't do what I thought I needed to do for the day? And actually just be in the discomfort of, it's okay to not get every single thing ticked off your list. And if you get 8 things done, amazing. Can you still reward after every single one and just being like, amazing, I've achieved one thing, brilliant.
You know what it reminds me of? Like, the words that have come up for me is oppressive regime. That's what just popped into my head. It's like, because you can submit, because there will be punishment. There'll be if I don't tick everything off my list, I'm going to feel that raging self-hate and that panic of like, this means you're not XYZ. And so it's like, but what happens if we submit to that abuse and just make our life about walking on eggshells around our inner critic? It's not freedom. So it's interesting. Do you just want to put a band-aid on that by avoiding giving yourself space to live? Which, yeah, it's just it's kind of shortchanging So I'm just talking about myself. Shortchanging myself on the freedom and the joy and the play that I could have, and the nourishment. And so what's happening now is I'm finding it easy to make a different decision, particularly in the last year. And all I can say is it feels juicy and thick and warm and rich, and a lot more like a really good lie-in. Like one of those nourishing ones where you're like, oh yeah, getting that.
Beautiful. I love that richness. Yeah, one thing that's really worked for me is when I do one thing, it's been like, oh my God, you're amazing. Yeah. That's fantastic. Woo, I've done one thing, you know, and like bringing joy, fun, lightness, and love to everything. Not just about when, oh, I'll only feel that when I've reached X amount, but can I bring that in at every single moment? Because everything I'm doing is amazing, you know, and to be able to kind of reflect that in the moment, it's like, yeah, it kind of makes everything more manageable if I do have a lot of things, instead of going into this overwhelm, which is when perfectionism can come in, amongst other things.
It's like what I'm hearing and what you're saying is like the choice about how you're going to relate to yourself. So instead of, if I think about the fear that comes up, like particularly in the past, the model that I was running is the checklist at the end of the day was like, am I good enough? That's what it feels like, you know, when I find myself going, oh, I haven't done that thing. It's like, oh. So again, it's bringing up the question of my self-worth. And what I've done instead for the last year is bring up the practice of acknowledging my intrinsic self-worth. So that my self-worth is not habitually in question. And that's really been a game changer for me. Instead of having to check, am I worthy? No, we're not having that conversation. That's the wrong question. I've answered that question to myself every single day for the last year in different ways, and just made that my practice. So because that one is fucking everybody up. So what if you stopped questioning your worth? That's okay, like, you know what I mean? So anyone who's like, yeah, that sounds like easier said than done, totally. And there's ways of doing it. There's practices. Make up your own practices as well. Yeah. All right. Love it.
Like that. Such a juicy one. I found myself checking out a lot. I was like, so, I mean, perfectionism comes up for me a lot in what I do. Like everything has to be perfect and on time and scheduled. And if it's not, like I have to work with it every single day.
Yeah. It's like when you've practiced a pattern for so long, of course it's going to keep popping up.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know about that.
Hey, amazing. All right then, loves. Well, we've got to the end of our 20-minute Love and Lunch. Thank you so much for being here. We have loved feeling you, meeting you via the web. But yeah, if you have any questions, thoughts, you can write any questions that you have at the bottom of this live, or you can get in touch with either Joanna or I. And yeah, I've posted my group at the bottom of this, and yeah, I currently, if anybody is interested in finding out more about how by discovering, I was just trying to think of it there, how by discovering a relationship with pleasure and desire can change your relationship to yourself and to other people, and really start connecting to like self-worth, your confidence and self-esteem, and how that starts to show up. So I do actually have 2 places available at the moment. And I do Facebook Lives and masterclasses within my Facebook group. So come on in, it'd be lovely to have you there. And yeah, I will see you soon. I'll hand you over to Joanna.
Cool, it's Joanna Keeble. I don't know if anyone knows, I'm actually a shy person who's practiced being out a lot. And so I do have fun. I play a lot with being visible, but it's also super uncomfortable. So there's always a voice laughing at me. I'm like, Joanna Keeble, big, beautiful boundaries. I'm going to drop the link to my group below this video and invite you guys in. And there's a workshop coming up, which I'm very excited about. I won't say more just yet, but get in my group and find out about it. That's it for now, I think. So have a lovely day and let us know how this landed.
Yeah, definitely. We'd love to know. Lots of love. Bye.